Hello everyone! Welcome back to Let's Play Great Ace Attorney. In our last episode, our case got turned on its head again. Something's not right here. For one brief shining moment, yes. It's clear they are all still very unsure. If we could just find some conclusive piece of evidence among this New Testament, I'm sure we could clinch the verdict we want. I think you're right, and I have this niggling feeling. Something's bothering me, but I just can't put my finger on it. Alright, we've done that.
Well, no. Excuse me.
Is something wrong, Mr. Begilded? Oh, I do apologize. Was there something the matter, Consul? I guess my voice was spot on, actually. I'm just wondering if Miss Lestrade's last comment made something occur to you, perhaps. You seem to be thinking something to yourself. Oh, no, 'twas nothing important. I was feeling bad for the poor lass, is all. I remember feeling desperate myself for the young lad, shut up in the dark. 'Twas terrifying, so it was. I see. Yes, I'm sure we can all sympathize. I'm still scared of the dark now. Aye, and I don't know about yourself, but I find the darkness seems to make everything you hear seem that much louder as well. Yeah, I suppose it does, maybe. Miss Lestrade? Did you hear something that night? Anything, an unusual noise, perhaps? Nah, not really. All I could hear was the Irishman snoring. Bejabbers! Oh, suddenly you're Dave the Barbarian? Bejabbers! There's no need to tell the whole world of me foibles, you little scamp. What a pity. If only Mr. Lestrade had heard something, it might have given us a vital new clue. It's profoundly important. My lord, I believe the statement just made by the witness profoundly is important. Yeah, profoundly important, but all she said was that she heard nothing. Yes, which is profoundly important point. I'm almost sure of it. I'm almost sure that I don't understand the inner workings of her Eastern mind, Counsel. Nevertheless, Miss Gina Lestrade, you will supplement your formal testimony by repeating that last statement, please. What? Supplement? What are you on about? You don't give me all your fancy talk, I know what you're trying to do, but it won't work on me. That's right, insult the judge, always a good move. Well, at least it's not accusing the judge of doing it. That almost never goes well in an Ace Attorney game. I was straining my ears to look at what was going on, but all I could hear was snoring. So you were straining to hear what was happening the entire time, since the moment you hid yourself? Not exactly, no. Sorry. Well, there was no one in the cabin to start with. I could just push the cushion up and have a butcher's to see what was what. But then, when I saw the swell getting on, got me head down so he didn't know to me. And Mr. McGill had sat on the seat under which you were hiding, correct? Yeah, but you had him in Evie. Hey, what a mug. Ooh! And all I could do was listen. I was waiting to jump out of there as soon as I heard him leave, see? But would he? Not likely. Even though he stopped here and there, I never heard the door open. So I just had to stay put and listen to him driving his pigs to market, snoring like an old dog he was. Are there any conclusions we can draw from that, I wonder? Miss Lestrade, what you've just told the court is clearly at odds with the facts. Wait! At odds? Are you sure, man? Absolutely. It seems my learned Nipponese friend is not as dull-witted as I feared. So Van Zieks realized it too. Counsel! I must insist that you bolster your claim with evidence, or some complicit party's name at the very least. Yes, my lord. I expect you to demonstrate this alleged contradiction to this court. According to Miss Lestrade, while she was hiding in the omnibus that night, she heard nothing but the sound of Mr. McGildett's snoring. But think! Ow! There's something else she should have heard. Show a person. On a particular sound that Miss Lestrade could not have failed to hear on the night in question. Mortar. Rice-fired mason. Yes, my lord. The sound that Miss Lestrade cannot have failed to hear is that of the victim, Mr. Mason, boarding the omnibus. Order! Order! Explain your reasoning, counsel. Miss Lestrade, allow me to confirm something. You claimed earlier you were the first person on board the omnibus. Is that correct? Yeah, of course I was. Got on while the driver was in a pub, didn't I? And the next person aboard the omnibus was Mr. McGilden. That it was! Not a soul in the cabin when I climbed aboard. At least not in plain sight. So you were, to all intents and purposes, alone in the enclosed cabin at the omnibus at the time. Did I not just say it, Moss? I wasn't travelling with anyone else, if that's what you meant. Yeah, I saw him get on. Remember, with a crack under the seat cushion. He was on his own for sure. And from what we've heard, the carriage made a number of stops after that on its onward journey. During that time, did you not hear the door opening or closing at all? Nah, I never heard it. That's exactly what I was listening for, wasn't it? Waiting for this swell to leave. In which case, when and how did the victim end up in the carriage? We know that the victim collapsed in the enclosed cabin in the omnibus. Therefore, Miss Lestrade's statement about what she did or did not hear is at odds with the facts. Hey! Yes, the petty thief's statement was clearly flawed. Lord Van Zieks! Yes, he knew. He knew all too well there was an inconsistency in Mr. Lestrade's statement. It would seem words of thanks are in order for my learned friend. What are you talking about? You've demonstrated matters impeccably. This witness and her colourful statements are clearly unreliable. Her words are convenient untruths, nothing more. Excuse me. He's dead right. How could the victim possibly not have boarded the omnibus? That makes no sense whatsoever. And this girl is a pickpocket. Let's not forget that. even say anything. I didn't want to judge the dear little mite just because she has some rather naughty ways. But I must say, I can't abide liars. And neither can I. Mr. Foreman, I don't want to judge the girl just because she has some less than salubrious ways. But I must say, I cannot abide liars. Not good. Hey! That's 5 jury members leading towards guilty. Well, your consideration for others is refreshing, my Nipponi's friend. For the considerable troubles you have spared me. Yes, very refreshing. Hey! Ow! Ah! What are you playing at? Have you forgotten who you're working for, you useless Eastern Amadan? I know those are rude words. This is carnage. It's perfect. Juror number 2 is the only one left. The way this is going, if we can't find some new way to convince everyone of Mr. McGilded's innocence, the judge will rule and we'll have lost. But those of us in service know we must accept hard truth. Yes, the witness's last statement seems to have revealed a critical inconsistency in her story. However, if we consider the possibility that her statement is in fact the truth, it may shed an entirely new light on this whole case. What are you saying? Oh. Counsel! I'm sorry, sir. Whatever do you mean? Counsel, I will not tolerate you attempting to prologue my adjudication. To prorogue. Prorogue? What the heck? Explain yourself at once. When the accused boarded the omnibus on the night in question, the victim was nowhere to be seen. Subsequently, the carriage door was not heard opening a single time, as testified by the witness in the stand. And yet the victim's body was found inside the carriage. If this petty thief's words are to be believed, how do you explain the victim's miraculous appearance inside the cabin of the omnibus? There's only one way to explain how the victim came to be inside the carriage. There's another entrance. If the door wasn't open even once, the only explanation is the victim entered the enclosed cabin some other way. Objection! I wondered what new fantasy you would come up with in your blind panic. Behold, the omnibus is here for all to see. Only one side of the enclosed cabin is furnished with a door. The other has only windows. Fixed windows which cannot possibly open. In short, there is no entrance to the cabin other than the door. But there could be. There's one possibility you haven't considered. Oh, really? Yes, one other way inside that isn't the door. Another opening, the use of which allowed the victim to appear inside the enclosed cabin. Alright, counsel. The defense will identify the location for the court. Here's the omnibus in which the incident occurred. It's gotta be the skylight. Take that! The answer is obvious. It can only have been the skylight. I say, the skylight! Objection! Your ludicrous proposal has almost has me lost for words. Pardon me. However, the The skylight may be well large enough for someone to pass through.
Objection!
So you claim. But do you have a shred of evidence to support your addled-brain theory? Both Mr. McGilden and Miss Lestrade said the same in their testimonies. They each claimed to have heard a loud thud, such as the noise made by someone falling to the floor. Yes, which has already been explained, as the sound of the victim falling from his seat having been assaulted with the dagger. Yes, it has, but would a man slipping from the seat onto the floor really have made such a loud noise that the witness described? A noise loud enough to cause Miss Lestrade to let out an involuntary cry, in fact. Good gracious! Perhaps, in fact, that was the moment the victim made his entrance into the cabin. No, let me rephrase that. The victim didn't enter the cabin as such. He fell into it!
Objection!
You're now suggesting that the victim fell from the skylight into the cabin. That's simply impossible! How can you be so sure? Because if the victim had fallen inside through the skylight, as you say, the passengers on the roof deck would have seen it happen. And yet, not one person made mention of such events in their testimony. Well, yes, that's true, but...
Might a humble fella make a wee comment here?
Mr. McGilden?
To be sure now, the two fellows who were sat on the roof that testified afore said nothing of the victim falling through the skylight. But it seems to me, my lord, that 'tis not so much a case of them not saying, but... Aye. 'Tis a case of being unable to say.
What?
I think perhaps the two fellas do be having something of a compelling reason not to mention what happened. Would yous not agree? Fine ladies and gentlemen of the jury.
Huff!
Oh my goodness, surely not.
Those two chaps on the roof? Miss Motorfingers. You mean the ones who sucked a knife in the man before? Just what exactly are you insinuating here, you blitherer? You rotter, I say. You rotter. What are you insinuating?
What the hell is this pose?
It's even galloping. This is a flaming outrage. I got a good mind to give you a blinker in a minute. He'll give you a shiner in a minute, he said. And so will I. Mr. Fairplay, you're effectively accusing me, a city gentleman and a well-respected banker. And me, a very angry hatter.
And someone who has an invisible horse.
Suggesting that someone like me could have stabbed that man in the guts. It's a disgrace. It's scandalous. It's... much. I protest. I protest in the strongest possible terms.
That's right, I protest too.
About you, you rotten scoundrel. Order! 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 This is not the time, witnesses. I will not permit this wanton invasion of the stand. Return to your anteroom at once. Well, this is beyond reason, my lord. It's outrageous.
It's very hurtful, you know.
My lord, if I may comment. Go ahead, Lord Van Zeeks. It was the defense that incited this outburst from the witnesses. My learned friend has seen fit to abandon all protocol and accuse the witnesses without proof.
Accuse? I never intended to.
It seems, young Nipponese, that your command of the English tongue is wanting. You propose to this court that the victim fell through the skylight from the roof deck of the omnibus. That hypothesis cannot possibly stand without the rooftop passengers being aware of the events. You have branded these gentlemen liars. You've intimated their criminal guilt. In our British courts of law, that is what is termed a baseless accusation. I know I was rash to put this idea forward without any actual evidence, but you can't just dismiss it without a second thought. What are we wasting time for? Get in it! Testify! I thought there was something fishy about that hat from the moment I laid eyes on the fellow. We have to see this matter through now, one way or another. There's filth and rubbish in our midst. We must dispose of it at once. What's happening, Mr. Naruhodo? The spectators in the public gallery are in a complete frenzy. Mr. Fairplay and Mr. First. My lord. You will take the stand again and make another formal testimony. In a reference to the indictment brought upon the defense. Yes, my lord. I didn't come here for this. There's no time to think this through. All I can do is keep pushing forward. We were the only two people up on that roof deck, dead alive. I can swear to that. If anything had happened where we were sitting, don't you think one or the other of us would have noticed? In any case, neither of us knew the first thing about the victim. We'd no reason to kill the man. The skylight was shut the entire time, I tell you. We couldn't have possibly opened it. If you're so sure the victim fell through the skylight, where's your proof? I must say that on listening to this testimony, it is somewhat hard to imagine. How either witness could have performed any malevolent acts on this open rooftop deck without the other noticing forthwith. That's right! You see, we're innocent, I tell you. Although logically, of course, the argument falls down if the two of you were in collusion with one another. What? Eh? According to investigations by Scotland Yard, the two witnesses share no common dealings. Well, I don't trust coppers anymore and I trust the stinking rich. Some things haven't changed. Something doesn't feel right here. The trial's going in our favor, really. So why do I feel uneasy? Something's being set up here. Cross-examination time. Alright. In any case, neither of us knew the first thing about the victim.
Hold it!
Oh, lummy. No, not once, never. You never met the man before, he said. Never. And you, Mr. First, had no prior dealings with the victim either? That's right, sir. Hatters don't have much to do with brickmakers, to be perfectly honest.
No. Excuse me.
Mr. McGilded?
Yes, counsel. What can I be doing here for?
Did the witness's last statement give you pause for some thought somehow?
Not the remotest connection? Is that right now? I wonder.
What are you insinuating now?
Well, Mr. Fairplay, that's been too long, it has.
Hey,
If I'm not very much mistaken, I believe 'tis fast approaching, is it not? Your payment date.
I beg your pardon.
You borrowed 20 guineas from me, sir.
At an unconscionable rate of interest, you tricked me. It's extortion.
Well now, is that a touch of begrudgery, is it? That sort of begrudgery might motivate a fella to pass his crimes off on another. Ugh! And young Mr. First.
Me, sir? What you want with me?
You do be making hats for a living, do you not? That there top hat sliding on your head, is that one of your own creations, it is?
Well, I'm still just an apprentice, you understand. I'm learning to find the perfect fit for whatever fine gent walks through the door.
The perfect fit, is it? Well, 'tis a very distinctive design, so it is.
Many customers like it, I tell you. They like a distinctive touch.
Customers, such as thrice-fired Mason.
Ah!
There was a photographic print of the victim submitted as evidence afore, my lord.
This you mean? I couldn't help but thinking the poor fellow's hat looks distinctly familiar, wouldn't you say?
Oh! That's one of my hats.
Aye, that is.
So it would seem the brickmaker was a customer of yours. The sort of customer, I'd wager, you could have had a wee quarrel with over the distinctiveness of the goods.
Oh, no, sir! Absolutely not, sir.
Well, there's really nothing more to add. You wouldn't be right to say that the two fellas here haven't the remotest connection to the victim, you see. I rest my case.
You little weasel! Ah!
He's better at this than I am. Gosh, Mr. McGilded has certainly been thorough in his research, hasn't he?
I don't like you for some reason.
Please, don't let me a little interruption hold up the proceedings.
Somehow I got that. The skylight was shut the entire time. I tell you, we couldn't possibly have opened it.
Hold it!
Are you quite certain about that? The skylight was shut the entire time. I'm gonna lose my block with you in a minute. He's gonna lose his rag with you in a minute. That's what he said. Take a look for yourself. Go on. You see, it's shut fast now like I was on the night.
So it is, of course. The fellow decides that Mr. Mason could likely break through it. Still and all.
What?
Just looking at the size of the thing, you understand.
Now you and me. Hold on there a minute, sir. The size of the thing means a bad thing. Not on its own. Let's consider the bigger picture here, shall we? Let's stop biting our cane, shall we?
I was riding the omnibus on another occasion when, well, I broke wind. Loudly. I shocked myself with it as it happens.
This is an unexpected confession, Mr. First.
I protest so much. Oops, I farted.
Oh, well, yeah. Just mean to say, well, the point is, I tried to open the skylight, you see. But, just my luck, I couldn't make it budge. The stench was terrible. Everyone was looking daggers at me, sir. I went as red as a rogue. Red as rouge, I did. Are you expecting me to sentence you? Oh, no, sir. The point is, the skylight can't be opened. I tried and tried when I was inside that cabin of shame.
Excuse me.
Do you have something to say about that, Miss Lestrade? Miss Lestrade! It opens. The skylight. That is what we are talking about, right? All the skylight's open. Dead easy. More easily than you can load that weapon. That's a lie, I tell you! Otherwise, when I broke window, I... You can't do it from inside, you mug. Look, a few weeks ago, I was up on the roof deck of one of them drags. And I had a great help. I mean, I had purses coming at me ears. Miss Lestrade, this is not the forum to be eulogizing on the subject of your criminal activities. Well, anyway, I had a bit of a scare. When I lifted the last bloke's purse, he got wise to me. All four of them surrounded me, so I couldn't hop off the bus and leg it. So what I did was I used a skylight, opened the hatch and jumped right through. Yeah, the catch for them skylights is on the top side. That's why you can't open them from the cabin. It opens from the roof deck. Bailiff! Climb up on the roof of the omnibus at once and verify the witness's claims. Oh, me. See? So it appears this street girl statement is quite true. Okay, I've already done this. No, I didn't want to do that. It does open very wide, doesn't it? Why didn't I have to kick someone like you through, Mr. Naruto? There's blood here. Why there? It can't be unrelated to the case, can it? I don't believe it. The skylight opens, and from the roof deck. Well, counsel for the defense, please continue with your cross-examination. Yes, my lord. So the skylight opens. Perhaps I should investigate for myself. Done that. I don't like this. It's a little too convenient, but this is what we've got. On the night in question, the victim was fatally stabbed in the stomach, and immediately afterwards, the victim's body was pushed through the skylight in the cabin below. These are the facts, and the irrefutable proof remains visible on the omnibus that stands before today in the very courtroom. What? That's under humbug! You can't possibly have any evidence. No, you can't. I mean, we didn't do it, I tell you. It's impossible. Irrefutable proof here in this courtroom? Counsel. My lord. I believe everyone would appreciate a little clarification here. Where exactly within the omnibus is the evidence in which you allude? You will point out what it is that proves the victim fell from the roof deck through the skylight. Alrighty. If you so insist. Ow, don't observe it. Present it, damn it.
Got it!
By Jupiter! Is that blood? Hey! This bloodstain proves two things. Firstly, when the incident occurred, the skylight of the omnibus was open. What? And secondly, the victim was already bleeding when he fell through the opening. Oh my! And so it follows that Mr. McGilded, who was inside the enclosed cabin himself at the time, cannot possibly be guilty of this crime. I don't know. No!
Hold it!
But the blood could have sprayed up there when this fellow was stabbed in the cabin.
And only found its way up to that particular spot of the skylight? Sure, and that would be very convenient. And let's keep it in mind that the skylight catch can only be unfastened from the roof deck. I myself wouldn't have been able to open it now, would I?
But, there's no way to know for certain, is there? The gent really fell through the skylight, I mean.
Why don't you have a good look at the floor of the cabin between the two seats, Mr. Firth? It's all too plain, if you see. There's the aftermath that shows the poor fellow dropped from a fair height, right there, so it is.
No! But it can't be. It's all lies!
Hold it!
My fellow jury members, I think we can all agree that this is clear proof of the defendant's innocence, can't we? I believe we can, yes, sir. It's clear to me now whether the filthy rubbish can be found in this courtroom. So they felt like a pillow bull over my eyes, did they? I won't tolerate any of the guild's carriages being sullied with blood. I won't tolerate it.
Oh, I always knew that nice gentleman who gave us that delightful park couldn't have done such a thing.
On three, then, everyone. 1, 2, 3.
Objection!
A chilling performance, Mr. McGilded.
Oh, and what would you be referring to there now, Lord Van Zeeks?
A blood stain on the frame of the skylight. Such evidence is null and void. What? Why? For one extremely simple reason. That smear of blood never existed.
Objection!
What? What are you talking about? It's there for all to see, and it's clearly blood.
Objection!
I personally attended Scotland Yard's investigation of the omnibus. The officers involved went over the carriage with a fine-tooth comb. So I can state with absolute certainty, no such smear of blood existed in the carriage. Someone's tampered with things. This isn't a clean trial anymore. At least, not until this trial began. But, are you suggesting, Lord Van Zeeks, this stain of blood was fabricated, my lord? Yes. And while this court has been in session. What? Ow!
What a palaver! I must say, I didn't expect such crude reasoning from a prosecutor of your standing, Lord Van Zeeks. Let Magnus McGilded, a fellow known all over the capital for his kind contributions for public life. I don't take kindly to slander, and I'll fight to the bitter end. Even if it's rolling off the tongue of the Reaper of the Bailey.
Mr. McGilded, I realize this is your first appearance in court as the accused. However, I'm well aware of your involvement behind the scenes in a great many affairs of dubious nature. You're very adept when it comes to avoiding getting your own hands dirty. And each time it happens that a case you're involved in is investigated, you adapt the facts. This guy really did it, didn't he? Adapt the facts? What does that even mean? When you wield a fortune the size of Mr. McGilded's, however ill-gotten it may be, nothing is impossible. Tampering with evidence, manipulating the scene of a crime, bribing witnesses. This shouldn't be going for us. I toast your ability to conduct the most convenient of stories, sir.
Tut, Lord Van Zieks. This will not do, to be sure. Will it now, counsel?
Oh, no.
I think it's fair to say, this does all sound like a rather far-fetched excuse by a desperate man.
The blood on the skylight didn't exist, you say? Well, maybe I'm better at doing Irish than I thought. But if you will all cast your minds back, is it not true the omnibus has been there in a courtroom the entire time? How could anyone possibly have put a smear of blood in it without the world and his wife seeing? Isn't that right now, counsel? It's true. The omnibus has been in full view the entire time the court's been in session. My learned friend, here's to hearing your opinion on this matter, in your own words. Oh, it's damn possible. As you wish. Could someone have tampered with the omnibus during the trial? If you're asking me, I think it definitely could have been possible. As a defense lawyer, it's my job to advocate for the defendant as best as I can. But still, I feel as though there's something even more important at stake here. There is no evidence to suggest the defendant did as my learned friend suggests. However, in terms of having the opportunity to carry out the alleged tampering, there is one possibility. Oh! Good gracious! Explain yourself, counsel! Yes, there is. It seems my learned Nipponese friend has no intention of running from this deceit. Deceit! I'm sure everyone still remembers clearly. The recess we were forced to take. As a result of the smoke grenade fired by the witness currently in the stand, Miss Gina Lestrade. Careful, Mr. Naruhodo, cover your face. Blah, 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 blah. The courtroom was filled with smoke, and everyone was thrown into confusion. All of us were made to leave this chamber. In that brief interval, under the veil of smoke and all the chaos, it could have been possible to steal inside the omnibus. Are you wise? Are you wise? What are you trying to pull, you rotten, feckless gouger? Feckless gouger? You're supposed to be defending me. 'Tis a wicked plot. 'Tis a plot to undermine me, so it is.
Objection!
Whenever you think it is, it changes nothing. The facts are the same. After this courtroom was evacuated earlier as a result of the smoke grenade, a number of inconsistencies materialized in relation to the omnibus. Inconsistencies such as, to start with, the storage compartment underneath the rear passenger seat. When the police investigated the omnibus, this compartment was full of the drivers of the items. Secondly, we have the smear of blood on the edge of the skylight. As I've said, this was not present at the start of the trial this morning. Oh, we got more. I don't like the sound of this.